Okay, so today's video is about living with depression and what we can do about it, and it's coming up next. Hi, welcome back to my channel. If you don't know me, my name is Shane Holland. I have a master's degree in counseling psychology, and I post videos on all things mental health. My goal is to increase public awareness for mental health, thus reducing the stigma so people will seek the treatment that they need. I post daily at 8 a.m., so make sure you click the subscribe button below and the bell notification so you'll get notified whenever I post videos. And now on to the video. Okay, so what is it like living with depression? Well, it's pretty subjective. Like, everyone has their own set of symptoms or problems or what happens to them. But for me, I'm going to list off a whole bunch of stuff that happened with me, and then later on the video I'll tell you what I did to combat them. So the first one is lack of interest. Literally, I'm not talking like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. I mean like you have no interest. Like, okay, I have a gym pass and I've paid for it, I should go. You don't care. Oh, you should go to your job. Yeah, I don't care if I lose my job. Like, oh, I should go play soccer. Don't care if you get kicked off the team. Like, you just have absolutely no interest, and it's to the point where you just can't, or you don't want to, like, just do anything. The next is bone crushing fatigue. Like, I don't mean like, oh, I'm tired, like I've worked all day. I mean like it takes all the energy that you can muster to get up and go to the washroom. And then you go back to bed and pass out. That's what I mean. Like, it is absolutely devastating to someone's life when you're at that stage of your depression. Then you compound the fact that you have, or at least I did, joint pain. Like headaches, shoulder, elbows, hips. Like, I would walk past stuff on the floor and look at it and be like, nope, not picking that up. Because, for one, I didn't have the energy, and two, I just knew it would, like, totally hurt. So I just stopped doing it. The next is irritability. Now, for me, this is a big one. So, I could just be in the room, normally, just hanging out with someone, and then the next thing, they could just say one thing, and I go from, like, a 2 to, like, a 9. I would get so irritated that it almost felt like someone was like drilling into my brain. It is that bad, and it can come on at a moment's notice. And what I would have to do is just totally focus on my mood, because what I would do is if someone said something, I would be very like sarcastic, or I would like just say something that's cutting, like it would just be brutal. And then it would take like a little bit and like a lot of energy to try to get me back. And if I couldn't, then I would, the only thing I would do is just be like, I gotta go, because I didn't want to create any more animosity, or I didn't want like anyone to get like completely mad at me. So that's a big one, and I still struggle with that today. Like, it happens when I'm outside, it happens when I'm like talking to my parents, it happens when I'm like talking to a friend, especially happens when I'm in public places. So I just try to be diligent, and if I can't kind of simmer down, then I just remove myself from the situation. The next one that I had was a change in appetite. So it can go either way for some people. Some people just don't eat because you're basically lying in bed and you just don't care about anything, and you just forget to eat. Like, you can just go forever without like thinking about it. For me, it's the opposite. I've never lost my appetite. I would just eat, and it's more like comfort food. Like, I would go buy like a pizza and some pop and whatever else and just kind of eat. And that just to kind of give me a kind of that boost of dopamine to make me feel better. And then, but the next day would be horrible because I found out that sugar and I don't process it well. And I figured out that's one of the big things about my depression was my body just doesn't process sugar. So I would feel horrible the next day. Another thing is you get a lack of hygiene. So it comes with no interest and low mood, fatigue. Like you don't get out of bed. Like you just don't care. Or if you do get out of bed, like you just think about showering as like climbing Mount Everest. Like you don't do it. You don't want to. It just takes too much energy. Just the thought of it. No, so you could go days without showering, and it sounds horrible, but unless you've gone down this road, like you just have no clue on how bad it can be. And like speaking of how bad it can be, then there's suicidal ideation. Now, I used to think pre-depression that suicide was a selfish act because you're hurting your friends and family and all your loved ones that you leave behind. During depression, yeah, like I've had passing thoughts on like, yeah, I totally get it, because you're in so much pain and you just want it to end, and then you think, now I get it. So next time someone's talking about it, just make sure you listen up and say, hey, tell me what's up. Just actively listen, sit there and just listen to them. That's the best thing you can do. The last thing I'm going to list today is just poor sleep. So when you got depression, you are just constantly tired and you just want to sleep. And some people, it can be like you're just sleeping all the time. Like I'm talking, I had days where I'd sleep 18 hours, 20 hours, and I would be exhausted. And I'm not talking like sleep where you're waking up every couple hours and you just kind of, oh my God. No, it's like I was out 18 hours, wake up, and I felt horrible. Like not restful sleep. And there's the other side of it where people get insomnia. And this is probably more common. You just sit there and you stare at the wall and you ruminate and you just think about all the horrible things and your negative thoughts, and you just keep cycling it over and over and over, and you just lay there and you can't sleep and you think how bad your life is, and then when you do get to sleep and you wake up, you feel like a dish rag. Like you just feel wrung out, horrible, tired, and your depression just keeps going. So those are just some of the symptoms that I went through. There are a variety of others that people go through, but next I'm going to talk about things that I did that kind of changed my life, so stay tuned for those. So what do you do if you're depressed? Well, the number one thing I would say is seek support. Talk to a family member, talk to a friend, a teacher, social worker, somebody that you can talk to that you can kind of work out your issues with. Just like a sounding board, and just someone that's there to like empathetically listen to your issues. That said, seek medical advice. Go talk to your doctor. They can refer you to a mental health clinician, and you might go talk to a psychiatrist, and there's just different therapies and different things and options that you could talk about, but that would be a good place to start. Next, I would say exercise. Like, get out, do an activity. Just get outside and go for a walk. Do some gardening, mow your lawn, just do something, because movement is the key to getting better. It truly is. That's what it was for me. Like for me, I started doing walks on my treadmill, and it was horrific. Like I would be walking at 3 miles per hour, which is slow, and I'd be sucking wind and miserable, but I forced my way through it. And now I can do like a fast-paced jog for like an hour and then lift weights. But you start small and then you build up. Like I've been doing this process for probably about 13 months. Next, I would say is nutrition. just dump anything that's like in a box. You can probably get rid of it. Like any processed or highly processed food, dump it, man. Like sugar is the absolute worst thing for you. Like it just messes up your body. Like if you just did two things out of everything I'm saying here, like the whole video, if you walked and you dumped sugar, and that's it, that's all you got from this video, then if you did that for 90 days, I guarantee your mood would be better and you'd probably drop weight. That's what those are the key right there. Lastly, I would say take in some omega-3s. Like essential fatty acids are key. Like your brain's like 60% fat. Like it just helps with, inflammation. And there's a theory out there that depression is a inflammatory disease. So if you're taking something that helps with inflammation, then all in all, you're probably going to be better. So that's it for today. So just make sure you give me a like and a comment below and tell me what you think, and then subscribe. And I will see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. Thanks.